Friends, I was expecting literally fire from your side, but not much response. Uh, that's our habit. We are basically cowards. If we speak out, something may happen. Remember those lines of मुक्ति बोध, अभिव्यक्ति के सब खतरे अब उठाने ही होंगे, तोड़ने ही होंगे गढ़ और मठ सब. Now, when we talk about universal civil code, 2 points have to be highlighted. First is that the feminists who always cry for women rights, they never raise an issue about the rights of women in terms of common rights for all. I'll come to it later. An equally important point, if it is raised, will also be raised about secularism. Everybody in India is told that everybody is secular. We must realize the meaning of secularism the way it was introduced in Britain, because the power of church was increasing. It was disturbing the government. They brought this term secularism. So that means state has to be secular. State has to be neutral to all the religions and religious institutions. Is it? In constitutional debates, this was an important point, that we should have this secularism in the preamble, and overwhelming majority rejected it. They said, we are already secular, where is the need? For me, in a secular country, there should not be any question of majority and minority. And even if you have a concept of minority, which is not there in most of the majorities, democracies, then you can follow the definition of minority as given by the UN, where the community, any community which is less than 10%. And that is why I tell my students that Muslims in India, they are not a minority. They are the second largest majority. But ever since independence, when you talk about secularism, means equal rights for everyone, you have those articles 29 and 30 in particular. You know, Waqf board was formed through an act 1949, and in 1995 and 2013 the act was amended. The rule 40 of this act, decision if a property is Waqf property, it says the board may itself collect information regarding any property which it has reason to believe to be Waqf property, and if any question arises whether a particular property is Waqf property or not, or whether a Waqf is a Sunni Waqf or a Shia Waqf, it may, after making such inquiry as it may deem fit, decide the question. Number 2, the decision of the board on a question under subsection 1 shall, unless revoked or modified by the tribunal, be final. If Waqf, say, let us say in Ghaziabad, claims your property, you have to go to the Waqf board in the state headquarters in Lucknow, and still if not satisfied, then the tribunal again, that is also in Lucknow. You know how much land belongs to the various offices, government and non-government? The largest land belongs to railways and defense. And third is Waqf, because they can lay claim on any land. You keep fighting with that, but you are secular. Then Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru in 1951, he brought an act. The act was the Hindu Religious and Charitable Endowments HRCE Act, whereby all the Hindu shrines and religious bodies could be taken over by the state. By an estimate of the 9 lakh or so temples, common temples, more than 5 lakh have been taken over by the state. Nothing to other religious places, whether it is Abrahamic or India. Why so? Are we secular? This issue of secularism, obviously it will come up when you talk about the equal rights of all the people, common civil rights. And these are required just because the women in various religions, particularly Abrahamic religions, they suffer the most. What happens to the status of women in Islam? I don't think I should elaborate. Anybody can go through Surah Tawbah, chapter 9 of Quran. In particular, Surah Tawbah, ayat 5. You can go through whole of it. Half of those ayats are against the common rights. Similarly, in Christianity, Genesis is there, Deuteronomy is there. In Old Testament, plenty of issues are there whereby women are at the receiving end. So when one of the respondents has said that why only one community should change, it is not a question of community. It is a question for all. If women get equal rights, that will be for all the religions, not particularly for Islam or not particularly for Christian. And the only problem is, when constitutional debates were on, in the last video I told that the minorities, they came up. Similarly, when even Hindu amendment acts amended in 1955-6 and till date. Before that, in 1951, Dr. Ambedkar wanted amendment to Muslim and Christian laws also. But all the Muslim leaders and all the Congress leaders, they opposed. During constitutional debates, it was said that maybe the time is not ripe at some later date. Even today, if you ask, the same conclusion will be there, that the time is not ripe and time will never be ripe. The reason? Abrahamic religions. Particularly the Islam in India, it is in the hands of two kind of people. Ashraf, elite category, those you can say, who trace their descent to Arabs and other countries, hardly 3 to 4%. And those who are taught in madrasas, again 3 to 4%. And they have control over all the mosques as Maulvis and other office bearers. They won't let you read Quran with meaning. Same is the case with the Christianity as well. And I have been telling people that if you want to know your religion, you must not only read, you must understand. Humanism is much bigger than any religion, and therefore uniform civil code is not only the need of the hour, it should have been done much earlier. You must be knowing that voting rights for women, franchisee, we started much earlier than the Britain did. So if we could have equal rights in terms of nation building and running the nation, why can't we have in their personal lives? In that sense, I always tell people that if any movement has to succeed, the role of women is the most important, more important than men's role. Ironically, we have not been taught about the contribution of women in freedom struggle, and I hope this government, when they change the syllabus, the role of women in the freedom struggle, not only in freedom struggle, but right from the Vedic period must be highlighted. If in Rig Veda 30 Ratnins, 30 women experts contributed, do you think the better half of humanity should not have contributed? They have. And there are many books of 18th century and 19th century. Ironically, the people who became literate during those times, those who read more than what was required, they pursued law as their profession. They were never interested in history, literature, other sciences. So therefore, you will find much more. I think I did tell you last time the quote from El Basham. There are many histories in our myths, and there are many myths in our history. I wish the interest of Indians, it changes from these dummy subjects which I call physics doesn't make you human, engineering doesn't make you human, engineering doesn't make you human. It is the social sciences. Luckily, social sciences have been introduced in various IITs and in many engineering and global colleges of management and others. Always remember, human rights are much, much, much more important than any community rights. And if we have to fight, we should fight for the human rights, not the community rights, not the rights with respect to males, because male has always created problems in history. This issue I'll take up later. Thank you.